Romeo car carrier. Welcome to Lot 76 Cars. My name's Simon. Today I'm at the Italian car day at Brooklands, and what a fantastic selection of cars are arriving. So let's go and see some of the cars around the show. So this is a really rare car to start with. It's a Tommaso Longchamp, which was the Grand Tourer Coupe. I think actually coming from the Deauville was the four-door version of this. Super rare in the UK. It's a right-hand drive car as well. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's a 5.7 litre Ford engine in these. Just have a look at the width of the rear tyres even. Let's just try and get you down there. They're pretty big. Twin answer exhaust. That is an incredibly stylish Grand Tourer, isn't it? So this can only be a fabulous Alfa Romeo Montreal, built I think originally as a centerpiece for the Montreal show in Canada, and then I think reaction was so good that they actually decided to build it. Interestingly, if you look at the air vents on the side, they have no purpose, because if you look behind them, and it's not the engine, it's not mid-engine, in fact it's the passenger space. A lot of similarities to the Miura in terms of the side styling. I think that's the Bertone connection with the car, and doesn't it look a stunner? Let's just have a quick peek inside. That rocker, those rocker switches there, that lovely leather interior, and surprisingly, well, is it a full four-seater? Well, it's a four-seater anyway, let's put it that way. What an absolutely stunning motor car that one is, isn't it? You've got a long way to find something as stunning as that, but I'm sure there's plenty more to come today. So this is a Junior Zagato based on the Spider platform. Got some unusual features with this one. Let's take a closer look. We've got that Perspex front grille, or Perspex front panel I should say. Still recognisably an Alfa Romeo there as well. Stunning looking car, this particular one. Now, I was checking this one with the owner. In actual fact, the hatchback does fully open. It's a two-stage process to open it, but that hatchback is rather useful. It fully opens. Unfortunately, it doesn't go right back down to the boot, so apparently getting the spare wheel out is a little bit of a challenge. This one's for sale at the moment, but it is apparently a hoot to drive, and quite honestly, it's lovely to look at as well, isn't it? So Alfa Romeo produced apparently just over 32,000 of these GTVs from the I think from the early 70s. This one's got an unusual story. It's a right-hand drive car, but originally its first home was Australia, and that Australian sunshine didn't help the paint, so the owner then elected to have the car repainted. Well, it certainly pops, doesn't it? That paint finish is beautiful. Unusual to see these in gold as well, isn't it? So with a super long model name, it's an Alfa Romeo Sprint Veloce green cloverleaf. So the coupe version, I guess, of the Sud. Some unusual features. It's a pretty car, isn't it? It's had a windows out repaint, and you can tell some unusual features here. I didn't realise the back windows, passenger windows, actually drop down. I don't know how far they drop down, or they just pop out. Didn't realise that. That makes it a bit cooler. I'm sure it doesn't have air conditioning for sure. Lovely to see that, and it is in stunning order, isn't it? So this was the last Alfa Romeo built under Alfa Romeo's ownership rather than the later Fiat ownership, and it's the Alfa 75. Now the interesting thing with this particular car, it's a transaxle design, so the gearbox hangs out over the rear axle, giving some good weight distribution. The doors are brilliant because the doors are repurposed in cost-saving days from the Giulietta. So you see that plastic cladding at the top there? Underneath, these are actually a Giulietta door. So the owner's invited me just to have a look inside. Look at that lovely handle there. Looks like a marina door handle, but obviously it's not. Beautiful inside, that herringbone trim, and look at the handbrake. Yeah. I'm not sure how useful that is day to day. I suppose as long as it holds the car, you're not really too fussed, are you? So what have we got here? Well, we've got a Lancia Fulvia Zagato. So the Fulvia, not an ugly car, but the Zagato really takes it to another level. It's a Fulvia Zagato Sprint, special body by Zagato. Harry's Garage have modified one. I believe the rear hatch opens, but for ventilation I'm not sure it fully opens as in the way that some of the cars do. But it is a stunning design, isn't it? Every one was different, i.e. no panel would fit on another one. They were really hand-formed panels. So this Alfa Romeo A12 truck started out life with Naples City Council as a flatbed for repairing street lighting. It's had a different body put on the vehicle when it came to the UK. I wasn't even aware Alfa Romeo did trucks, were you? Wow, that's a real eye-opener. Now, we haven't even got to what the load is on this particular one, so I'll have a look in the cab. Pretty basic in there, as you'd expect for any truck, but on the back it's got a Fiat Topolino is the load. That's absolutely incredible, isn't it? Well, that is how to take the star prize of today so far. Turn up in an Alfa truck with a Fiat on the back of it. This is lovely, isn't it? It's an Alfa Romeo 101 series Giulia 1600 Spider. Now, what makes this unusual, this was an officially imported right-hand drive car to the UK, although some left-hand drive cars were converted later. It was registered to a dealer in, I believe, in northwest London, or registered via them. Oh, it's so pretty, isn't it? Let's have a look around the back. Some lovely features. We've got that coat of arms there with the serpent eating the man, as indeed on many Alfa Romeos, or most of them. Well, it's been updated ever since. That is truly stunning, isn't it? I don't know what you think, but it's a beauty. So succeeding the 1750, I think, and 2000 saloons, the more square ones in the early 70s, was the Alfetta. So it's rear-wheel drive, transaxle again for handling prowess, front-engined. This one is a left-hand drive vehicle, so it's obviously not had the issues of rust that maybe others have. Lovely inside, isn't it? Look at those dinky little column stalks. Look like you can just snap those off. They're so tiny, aren't they? 5-speed gearbox, which, let's face it, was pretty unusual for many days. This car, I think the Alfetta went on to donate its platform for some years after it died, because Alfa Romeo were well short of money. But this one's in super condition. What an unusual colour as well. So this is an original Series 1 Alfa Sud. It was actually featured on Cars of the Decade on Top Gear, driven by Tiffany Dell. It's the 1.2 engine. We're just going to, the owner's going to let me have a quick look inside it. It's that door handle. That's a beauty. Look at the condition inside it. So it reminds me of the one that my mum had. She had a 5M. I think 5-speed gearbox as well. Absolutely lovely, isn't it? So if we take a look round the back, what makes this unusual, it's been in the same ownership since 1978, and it's a 77 car, so what a history. And it's got the boot. It's not got the later hatchback, so you can see the hinges there for the boot. Always looks like a hatchback, should be there. What an absolutely stunning car, isn't it? That's a beauty. Well, thanks to the owner for letting me have a look at that one. So while Shuzzaro was at Italdesign, he knocked up this lovely little Maserati Bora. This is one of, I think, 41 UK or 41 right-hand drive cars. It's an absolute stunner. It's had a massive restoration. It's strictly a two-seater in there. Look how that dashboard is tilted right towards, angled towards the driver. It's a lovely place to be. Half the car is, not surprisingly, engines. It's got a not inconsiderable 310 brake horsepower. It probably explains why half the car is engine. And it's in stunning order, isn't it? Look at that glass rear hatch, and you can actually see the engine fully. That's how to do it, isn't it? What a beauty that is. Isn't this pretty? I bet you've never seen one of these before. It's a Fiat 125B Vignale Coupe, called Samantha. Not sure that's the nickname or the model name. They only built 98 of them. It's got echoes of Aston Martin there. The owner's very kindly left the door open for me. Let's have a look inside. Well, it's like a mini Aston Martin DBS, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? It looks so lovely inside. That rear profile of the car looks incredible, isn't it? Got some really neat features like those almost those portholes on the door. We'll just Just literally, we've got those kick plates. So just notice those Vignali kick plates there. If you didn't believe me, they're there. Vignali badging on the outside as well. Well, I have to say, that is absolutely the car of the show for me so far. That is a stunning, stunning car, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful. Although visually similar to the Monte Carlo, this 032 only shares the central monocoque part of the car with the Monte Carlo. And in actual fact, the car is substantially different. Now, you can see built for rallying. I think this probably was the last two-wheel drive rally car to actually make an impact before Audis and then Lancia themselves brought about that four-wheel drive dominance. Isn't that amazing? I mean, I won't even begin to go into the details of the engine bay, but goodness, it takes up half the car. Looks like it's sort of a space frame monocoque here. That's incredible. Proper rally car. This looks like it's had quite a history with it. Great to see that here, and that people are actually bringing those out for a day like today. Brilliant. So resplendent in its Napolino trim. Napolino, I think they're tomatoes or something like that. And gold seal salmon. What a sponsor list that is. Is this Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud TI, and it won first in class in the 1981 British Saloon Car Championship. So it's got a few rosettes on its door, hasn't it? And hasn't it survived well? Got a full cage in there as well. That looks absolutely resplendent, doesn't it? Well, this is a standout car, isn't it? It's a Fiat X19. The X19 is one of the few Fiats where the code or the model name, the code name, are the same. So the program name for it within Fiat X19 was actually carried forward. So this is a so-called Abarth prototype or prototipo. Look at the air cooler at the back. It's reminiscent of something that fell off Jody Scheckter's Formula One Ferrari, isn't it? Doesn't that look incredible? I don't know the full story behind that one, I must confess, so if you own it or you know more about it, bang it in the comments and we can all learn. But it is an incredible looking car, isn't it? So Fiat successfully campaigned the Mark I Fiat Uno Turbo IE in the European Rally Series, and this is one of those examples. Now, it has an incredible, wait for it, 240 horsepower. I think the standard car was maybe, what, 120, 130. That must absolutely go like the clappers. Looks resplendent in that top tip trim, and you don't see many of the standard cars, never mind a rally version of these, do you? So we're just going to get a shot of the back. I think that will be on the track a bit later. So if you like what you've seen so far, there's a lot more to come, and I suggest you like, share and subscribe to check out more videos like this one. So let's just have a walk past these. We've got a Alfa Spider, looks like an early Alfa Spider, right hand drive car. Then next to it we're going to go past and have a look at a Lancia Delta Integrale. We've got a Fiat 595, what, Abarth? Is it a 595? Well, I think so, maybe. Oh, we've got this. This is beautiful, isn't it? A Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. I mean, it's Kermit green, and in fact, it's got a little old Kermit. Kermit sat on the back shelf there as well, keeping an eye on it. Well, that's a stunning car, isn't it? And next to that, we've got a later Abarth, and this one looks fully ready for track action. It's got a proper cage. This is not pretending to be a track car, it is a proper track car. That looks amazing, doesn't it? What a great collection. So more to come, keep watching. Well, if you like Fiat X19s, you've come to the right place. You've got one of the, I think, mid-cycle cars there. That looks like an early car, the Lido Special Edition. Yeah, I think it is. I've seen that before. Looks like we've got in the background a Lancia Stratos. It's probably one of the Hawks. Is it an original car? I'm not quite sure whether it's an original one or not. Nevertheless, still a stunning. And yet more Fiat X19s and a Fiat Coupe. We'll walk a bit further and see what we can see. And what we've got next is the now becoming appreciated lovely yellow Seicento, shout out to that one, and the Bangle design. So Chris Bangle, prior to his BMW days, designed this very sharp edged Fiat Coupe, absolutely stunning car. The colours continue on the inside on the dash, so this is a silver one, so if logic follows it should be a silver dash inside, which it is. Sorry, it's not picking up so well on camera. And next to it, we've got an Uno GT. Sorry, not an Uno, it's a Punto GT. Correct myself there. What happened? Sorry about that. And that looks lovely, doesn't it? Well, never mind the last time I saw a Punto, never mind a Punto GT. And that, it's not just a Punto GT, but it's one in absolutely glorious, glorious condition, isn't it? Well, this is another unicorn these days. It's a Fiat 127 with a whole 75 horsepower to play with. So it must be the GT, I guess. Yeah, it is. It's a Fiat 127 GT 5-speed, and it proclaims it very loudly on the back. So it's what, a 1982 Y-plated car. Can't see the owner, unfortunately. It's got the prancing horse badge. That's a stunner, isn't it? Wow, you just simply don't see those about. So give us more Puntos, Simon, I hear you say. Well, here we go. Here's another one, and isn't this lovely? And this what, Giallo Fly or whatever Fiat call it, and it's a Punto 16 valve Sporting. And again, you know, to say these sold in huge numbers with great finance packages behind the back in the day, at least the volume cars did. When's the last time you actually saw one? Not for a while, I guess. Same here. So Innocenti built Minis under licence to British Leyland, and then at some stage, I think 72 to maybe 75, British Leyland actually bought them. Now Innocenti was a organisation that was having a few problems. BL was quite acquisitive in those days, and they bought them for a while. The Mini that we've got here, actually I did have a chat with the owner in the past, and I think he told me that there's not that many parts that are interchangeable. It looks interchangeable, there's quite a lot of differences under the skin. Lovely to see that. So I don't think Vernon, the owner of this Panda, would mind me saying he owns quite a few Pandas. We won't say exactly how many, but there's 3 of them here, but only one of them's a van. Now I think these were sold in the Italian market, but he's converted this himself, and you've got probably, I guess, the only Fiat Panda van in the UK. Now if that wasn't enough, then there's also got the Trekking Special Edition Panda 4x4, which is there. And then we've got another proper off-road version here. We've got the full set. We've got the Panda floor covered, haven't we? So it's the second time around for this owner with a Fiat 128 Coupe. Really rare, full stop. Buying an imported car back in the 70s was a brave choice still. Certainly the early to mid 70s. And the owner actually owned one that I think he ran for a while. Then got rid of it, like many of us did, and traded up, and then bought this one. So this is, as he lovingly calls it, Part 2. Fiat 128 Coupe Part 2. Unusual styling on these, isn't it? This looks like it might be a hatchback, but it actually isn't. It's got, I don't know, it's got a bit of early Mitsubishi Lancer look at the back of it, how that tail raises up there and it's slanted out. Interesting looking car, isn't it? And I don't think I've seen one like this at all, actually. This may well have been one of the last models introduced by Auto Bianchi, and this is a joint venture between Pirelli, Fiat and the bicycle company Bianchi, and they used this manufacturer as a bit of a laboratory to develop things like front wheel drive first and other features. So this one's quite a pretty little car, quite a practical look. I did once say in a previous video it had a bit of a look of Maxi about the back of it, so sorry, I might put my foot in it with that one, but yeah, unusual to see one. So the Fiat 131 was built in the Mirafiori plant, and Fiat decided to use the Mirafiori name for export markets. So in many export markets it was known and advertised and listed as the Mirafiori rather than the 131. Now this is unusual because it's the two-door car. So right-hand drive car, so it looks like it's even a UK car. Got a lovely interior, sort of part velour interior in there, and it's a 2000 TC twin carb. Would that be? and it's a 131 Racing, which is badged as 131 unusually as well. So this, as many of you will know, is a Fiat Barchetta, or little boat as it's translated. So there we've got one with the top up, we'll see one here with the top down. So a background noise, I think some of those other Italian cars are getting a bit feisty. Lovely interior, you can see how that sort of unpainted metal carries around into the doors itself. Now the interesting thing with these cars is they were based on the platform of the Fiat Punto. Now it's a car that's more than the sum of its parts in actual fact, because they do handle rather well. Were supplied officially to the UK, but only ever supplied as left-hand drive cars, and they are still a bit of a bargain at the moment as used cars. So this time another Punto, but this time it is the Bertoni built. I'm sure Bertoni designed it as well, but they probably built it. Cabriolet, you do see these around, but not that often. I don't think they introduced huge numbers. So you've got a Punto there with a boot. Lovely of its time period interior, isn't it? Look at that blue cloth trim, and it's survived rather well, hasn't it? Isn't that lovely? Now looking like it might be a mafioso staff car is a Fiat 130 Coupe, and isn't this a pretty car? It's angular, very angular, admittedly, very, very pretty. Lord Carrington, who was in the foreign minister at the time of the Falklands, had one of these and ran one of these. In fact, that very car was here last year. This one is resplendent in this lovely solid burgundy colour. We'll have a look round the back. This is when Fiat really did make some outstanding looking large cars, better known for their small cars, but this one is lovely, isn't it? Now I suspect it would take longer for me to talk about this than it would to walk round it, so we'll do that as well. It's a tiny Fiat 500, is it Giardiniera van or something like that? It's got the early rearward hinged front doors, and it's a beauty, isn't it? So this, without doubt, is one of the most beautiful cars I've seen. It's a geary bodied Fiat 2300S. So before Gear was bought by Ford and it was just a styling house, they did a lot of jobs like this, and it's got some lovely, lovely features. It's difficult to believe it's even Fiat based. Look at this sort of wrap round rear window here. Isn't that a massive, massive glass area on it? It is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, that car, isn't it? Honestly, you know, that is up there with Ferraris and Lancias and quite a few other vehicles. It's in stunning order. In actual fact, it's for sale, so if you're interested, I'm not sure whether the owner's left a card on the front, but it is extremely tempting. So if you want to pause the video at the right spot, it could be yours as well. Beautiful, isn't it? Just linger over that a bit longer. So a mere £65,000 will actually secure you a Fiat Dino Coupe. This is the later 2.4. Originally they were down as a 2-litre car and bought out to 2.4. The body was built by Bertoni, and it's a substantially different car to the Roadster. Although it looks very similar, apparently the bodies are just completely different, but there are similarities. It's a stunning car, isn't it? What a great job by the styling house on that one. And this is not bad either. It's a Lancia Flaminia 3B Coupe. Now, if you think it sort of looks a bit familiar to you, if you're looking at the front of the car, and we'll get around the back in a second, it is a pretty car, isn't it? We'll have a quick peek inside. Some lovely features. Love those opening quarter lights. Beautiful, beautiful interior. Let's get round the back. Now, I guess at this stage, this is where, well, I think to some extent the connection with Pininfarina is clear, because it shares a lot of styling similarities with the BMC Farina saloons of the period. Different cars, different segments, but you can see the work of the same pen probably. Beautiful car anyway. So the first generation of Lancia Delta Integrale with that four-wheel drive system did come to the UK, I think pretty much always in left-hand drive form. But what we didn't get is this one. Now this was the follow-up car They did do a Lancia Dedra Integrale as well, but this was the Delta, and I say we didn't actually get it. I think it's one of maybe only one or two in the UK. I think this was owned by another YouTuber at some stage as well. I must admit, lovely, glorious colour in that stunning yellow, isn't it? What a different concept to the original car. So this is also a Lancia Tamer, but this one has been in the current family for about 30 years. But what makes it unusual, it's an estate, never officially sold in the UK. Perfect dog transport, the owner tells me, but it's got in effect a version of the Integrale engine. Now look how useful that is. That's a beautiful car, isn't it? Not is it beautiful, it's exceptionally practical car. And I think let's just try and have a look inside. We'll just open, it's a left-hand drive car, so we can get a full shot across the dash. Oh, look at the seats. We've got those Lancia tread plates, electric seats, beautiful sort of Alcantara type trim, that slab dashboard in there. Well, I'm very impressed by that. It's extremely well appointed, and I can see why the owner likes it. And apparently it does frighten cars from the traffic lights up slip roads who don't expect an estate to be quite as fast as that one. That is an absolute beauty, isn't it? Now this stunning car is a Lancia Aurelia B24 convertible, not the Spider, which has got a different boat tail look apparently. 6-cylinder engine, the owner tells me from 1957. I'm going to take a quick look. The condition is incredible condition. Those knock-on knock-off alloys, beautifully appointed interior. Look at that Lancia steering wheel. As always, massively engineered well by Lancia. Absolutely lovely, isn't it? We'll take a quick look at the engine, the 6-cylinder engine, in a minute, if I can walk backwards without falling over. Beautiful, simply beautiful. With quite a long production life, from 62 right through to I think 72 or 73, is this Lancia Flavia Coupe, initially with a 90 brake horsepower engine, eventually pumping out 126. It's a proper Grand Tourer, so that it is got space for four. The owner's kindly left the window open there. Lovely inside, lovely interior there. Switch gear, reminded you've got 2000 cc's at your disposal, and it's a really pretty looking car. We'll try and get a shot from up here of it without falling off, so you can appreciate how beautiful it actually looks. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the equally beautiful Flaminia Coupe. This one, wow, what is it? I mean, it just looks like it's a two-seater with a bit of a bench in the back. I'm not sure you could call that a seat. I don't think it is. I think it's just storage area. But just admire the beauty of the styling. That is something just to savour, isn't it? What a car. So we're going to continue walking down here. We're going to walk past a couple of lovely Integrales. I think that one's a HF Turbo, to be fair. We've got the Beta Spider. I went to school in one of those years ago. Wasn't that much fun cramped in the back, I can tell you. And we're going to linger on this one. We've got a Lancia Gamma Coupe. Now the Gamma Berlinas, the saloons just simply don't survive. They've all rotted away, but I do seem to see more coupes. They will be set with problems, unfortunately, mechanical problems. But isn't that a lovely car? I think one of these is owned by another YouTuber, Grand Thrift Auto, so shout out to him. This is a 79. He knows far more than, or forgotten far more than I'll ever know about these. But it's a very pretty coupe, reminiscent of the time. And that 2.5 litre, what, V6 engine is it? So Isso is an Italian coach builder who made their money and their name with the Isetta, which they licensed to BMW. But what they also did, their first love was supercars. So they produced a range of supercars. I think this one's the Iso Lele. I think that's pronounced correctly. Got those lovely lamps which are partly concealed. It was launched about the same time as the fuel crisis in the 70s, so it never really sold in the way it should. And some people say the rear styling is a bit clumsy, that Gandini styling, I think it is. It's got a hint of Renault 15 or 16 about that back, or maybe that's just me. What do you think? Put your comments put your comments on that one, that'd be great. So derived from the Fiat 600e, unbelievably, is this very, very pretty Fiat Vignale 750 Coupe of 1962. This is about the 700th or something example actually produced, and isn't it utterly beautiful? So it wouldn't be an Italian car event without a lovely, lovely set of Lamborghinis. We've got a Urraco here, and this one's a stunning colour, this particular car, isn't it? Lovely interior on it as well. That means business, doesn't it? Incredible. You don't normally see the cars in such unusual colours like this one. Typical, I guess, of the 70s or early 80s. Looks, yeah, 78 by the look of the plate. Next to it, we've got a Countach. So you want some Ferrari Dinos? Well, we've got a few. We've got 1, 2, 3, and over here we've got incredible green looking Dino as well, which we're just coming into shot now. Apologies, getting very crowded here. Have you ever seen a green Dino Spider? No, me neither. It would be remiss of me not to mention the 100 or so, must be something like that, Fiat 500 Abarth that are here today. Some really, really lovely looking cars. I can see the attraction of these. I do like that one here. That's the, what, 595 is it? I bow to people's superior knowledge of these cars. I don't know that much about them, but I do know that one looks an absolute treat. So Maserati Ghibli. I think this was essentially, might have been bi-turbo based cars. Not sure. Somebody's going to tell me in the comments it's substantially different, and it may be. Apologies if I've got that wrong. But an incredible looking car, isn't it? More sort of that 3-box coupe style rather than some of the swoopy predecessors. Despite their boxy appearance, the 105 style dualies were actually quite advanced. I think you've got things like twin cam engines, disc brakes, and even, I believe, a 5-speed gearbox as well, which was an absolute revolution. This is a left-hand drive car. Not sure where it's come from originally. May have been an Italian market car, but it's a Giulia Super. Lovely. So you certainly don't see too many of these. It's an Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint Special, actually built for homologation purposes. The body is substantially different and it's very aerodynamic. Now the drag coefficient is, wait for it, 0.28. I mean, that is incredible when you think about it. Back in the day, most were built in steel. I believe some of them for competition might have been built in aluminium, and I think it ran for about 6 or 7 years. It had a relatively long production life. I have rarely seen one of these, I must admit. I know what it is, but I can't say that I've seen too many of them. It's quite a pretty car in its own way, isn't it? Very tapered towards the back end. You can see why it does so well in the aerodynamic stakes, can't you? Replacing the Alpha 33 is the 145-146 range. This is the 146 Ti. Again, I don't recall seeing these. Probably didn't sell in huge numbers back in the day, especially being the saloon version rather than that bread van hatch arrangement. This is more, looks like a saloon, although in actual fact it is a hatch, I believe. So all the Alphas are out today, including this 33, and it's even got a 33 Alpha number plate, just in case you're a bit confused or bewildered as to what it is. It's a later car, so it's got those facelift rear lamps. So this is a Lancia Flavia, but the convertible version, I believe developed by Vignale, looking at the badging on the side. It's what, 68, 69 car. It's a super looking interior, really, really elegant looking convertible with no really clean lines at the back end of it. Quite square as you move around the back, quite substantially different to the car which donated its body, isn't it? But what a pretty looking convertible. Another styling triumph by the Italians. A Fiat 128, but not just any Fiat 128, it's a Fiat 128 Rally. And this square box design, I think the Rally maybe was something that wasn't sold in the UK. It's got Rally badges on it, and I don't think he purchased those down at Halfords. But a splendid, splendid looking car, isn't it? So Fiat Tipos are rare, but this particular version, the 16 valve, was absolutely lavished with fantastic press in the motoring journals of the time because of its performance. It was seen as a bit of a benchmark. This one's in beautiful condition. Let's take a look at that 16 valve interior, that striped interior, lovely red mats in there, that instrument binnacle. It is in really super order, isn't it? Great to see that, and I haven't seen another one, I don't think, certainly not here. So searching for unicorns is particularly easy today. We've got a Fiat Marea. This is one of, I think, less than half a dozen left, and this is effectively the booted version of the Bravo range that was launched I guess in the 90s. You seldom see these. This is Festival of the Unexceptional territory, isn't it? Now, another car seldom seen is the Fiat Stilo. This was Fiat's attempt to go up market to try and compete with the Golf, and this one's a really special car, but we need to look round the back to have a bit of a clue as to what makes it so special, because there's a very special badge on the back that signifies that this particular car is the Michael Schumacher edition. So there's the proof. There we've got the signature and the Abarth badge. A really rare car, and I think that's probably the first one I've ever seen of these. So this Alfa 6 might look familiar. It's been on the channel before at Festival of the Unexceptional last year. Alfa 6 because it's 6-cylinder, and in true Alfa Romeo style of the 70s and 80s, with cost in mind, it uses a lot of the Alfetta parts as well. Never sold officially here, I don't believe, in the UK. This is maybe one on the road. Maybe there's another one that's not. Got some interesting features. If you look on the side here, beautiful interior, stunning interior, and if you look on the side here, this vent on the back is the Bertoni badge. So if you look on the other side, it's a bit easier to see. So Bertoni very sneakily included their logo into the design of the car. I wonder if they got away with that one. Well, we've spotted them, haven't we? So fabulous to see that here. And had a chat with the owner again, and it's just an epic looking vehicle, isn't it? So designed by Dante Giacosa, was a successor to the Topolino, the car that got Fiat motoring after World War II. Introduced in '57 and running all the way through to 1975. The first cars had front hinge doors, so-called suicide doors. Later cars had these more normal looking doors, and in actual fact, one of the interesting areas with this is the car won a design award for Dante Giacosa, an industrial design award, and the first time it had actually been awarded to a car company. So impressed were the judges with the car. At the side of it we've got the Giardiniera estate version as well, just in the background, and both of them are delightful, aren't they? So thanks again for joining me on Lot 76 Cars at the Brooklands Museum at the Italian Car Day. Please like, share, subscribe, click on notifications to be informed of my next video, and once again, as always, thanks for watching.